Hello, my friends. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another session of Make Art with me. I am your host, Sarah Krajewski, and today we'll be joined by Katie Carey, and she is going to be showing us, I don't even want to say it wrong, Kinetic Thaumatropes? I can't remember. She told me once and I can't remember, but I'm really excited about it because it's a cool way to get things moving in your classroom, and it's also just fun if you want to practice doing some sketching on your own time. Remember, Make Art with me is a time for us to be creatives as artists and also just to get our hands moving and stay making things. So we're going to get Katie in here and we are going to get started. Just a friendly reminder for you, if you can't stay for the whole chat today, this always gets saved to our IGTV tab after this so that you can see any videos that you might have missed or share it with a friend. So, Katie will soon. Get yourself ready for some fun. This is my fun face. Katie. Yay!
Hi!
Friend, how are you?
I'm great.
Good. I'm so excited to make these today. I tried pronouncing it. You probably heard it and it was real rough.
No, you're pretty close. It's thaumatrope. So
Thaumatropes.
pretty close.
Yes. When we were discussing the idea, I was super psyched about it because I think it's something that's really takes super minimal supplies, but also is just really, really cool for adults and kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can use the supplies that we're going to use today, but you also could easily swap out other things as well. So
I love it. I love it. Well, Katie, can you introduce yourself just a little bit for friends that are just joining us today? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. I'm Katie Carey. I live in New Hampshire. I'm an elementary art teacher and have been for 4 years. But prior to that, I taught graphic design at the college level for about 10 years.
Awesome.
Was a full-time graphic designer before that. So
that's intense. I actually didn't know that little fun fact. That would probably explain a lot of your organized skills and
some of them.
Yes. All right. Well, Katie, tell us what we're going to need today to get started. If you guys are if you friends are grabbing your materials, feel free to grab along with us. And again, you don't have to make art exactly at this moment, but the hope is that you're trying to make that time to create with us at the same time. So if you are creating with us, that's amazing. And then feel free to post after the fact and share with us on your story. So what do we need, Katie?
All right. So we need paper to start with. Any kind of white paper is fine. If you're using a really thin paper, you also could put a piece of cardboard in between when you go to make it move. So it's another way to just make it a little stronger if you need to. Something circular to trace. Scissors and a hole punch, so you could just use the scissors.
Perfect.
We can make do if we need to. Drawing materials, so whatever you feel comfortable drawing with. You could use tape or glue sticks to put them.
Okay, perfect.
And I use rubber bands. I think rubber bands work a little bit better, but you certainly could use string.
Okay.
To make them work. I think that the rubber bands, because they have kind of that pull back for kids, I think they're a little more successful.
Okay, I love it. I'm excited to see how it works. Okay, so we have our little collection of things. Katie and I are just going to downturn our cameras here so that we can see sort of like our overhead view slightly, and then we're going to get making.
All right, I'm going to turn mine kind of so I got to move my stuff out of the way here.
It's the most graceful transition. So
great. And I was thinking I could turn my camera going the other direction. So hold on. I'm going to grab
you're all good. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to draw with today. I'm like maybe feeling the brightness of markers, but I don't know.
So one thing to keep in mind too is as you're choosing what you're going to do is I'll show my sample really quick. So you're thinking of 2 items. So mine is a mason jar and a butterfly. So I put the butterfly in the mason jar because when we turn it really quick, it goes in.
I was like, I feel like that's not a very dramatic reveal to just be like, yes, that's very cool. But
but yes, if you want something that's either going to be inside, think bird in a cage, flowers in a vase. I think I'm going to try to do a pumpkin with a jack-o'-lantern face. So do like pumpkin and jack-o'-lantern. So it has to be something that goes on top or in because those 2 images will mix.
I love it. Okay, cool. So we're trying to think of two different subject matters or two different drawings. Yep. Okay, so let's get us started here with what we need, how we're going to begin.
Yes. So I'm gonna begin with tracing my circles, and I'm gonna do 2 circles, and then I'm gonna cut them out because we want to line those 2 images up. So it's really better to cut them out and be able to kind of see through the paper.
Okay. I guess that makes sense, just to like try to make it so they become one composition instead of just fully guessing.
Yes. I mean, as adults, it might be easier for us to kind of just eyeball it. Definitely kids, you kind of need to have them line it up.
Right. Now, Katie, remind me again, have you done this project with students before?
I have not done this one with kids in my classroom before, but I certainly have thought of it. I've thought about adding it into a larger like animation unit.
Yeah.
So a way to kind of introduce animation. You also can connect science. You know, we're looking about eye optics. You could add in history because a thaumatrope is actually a toy from the 19th century.
Cool.
Once upon a time, we didn't have screens. This is what
I'm thinking now, even, I don't know, were they always with a little string, or like, why am I picturing something that looks like a lollipop, like a stick that you could just rub in between your hands? Like, would that?
Oh yeah, you absolutely could create one that way. I don't know if the toys exactly how they were, but yeah, you absolutely could put it on a stick and do that kind of, you know, Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Flipping it back and forth. It would work just the same.
I love it. Nice. So here's a question, because I'm trying to brainstorm what my composition will be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it's more successful if there's 2 somewhat different images that are, for example, like a pumpkin that's plain and then one that has a jack-o'-lantern face, or sorry, those 2 are similar with something different on it, or 2 super different images like your mason jar and your butterfly? Like, what's more successful?
I think, you know, 2 very different images really kind of amps up the wow factor for because you see them really kind of morph together.
Okay.
So what's most commonly I see is things in things.
Okay.
You know, bird in cage, or, you know, do a vase. If you do your vase and then just drew the flowers separately.
Yep. I like it.
2 things like merge. So with my pumpkin, I'm going to do a pumpkin and then just the face.
Ooh, okay. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do the pumpkin on both pieces.
Got it. Okay. I can't think of it. I mean, I have like 40 ideas, but I can't put them together. I'm like, ooh, I could do a bat, but what should be in or on? Ooh, I'm like,
yeah. You definitely could get lost in different ideas over and over and over.
Right. Do you usually put things more centered when you start drawing, or do you?
Yeah.
They can be kind of wherever.
So I think what I'm gonna do to start mine is I'm actually gonna sketch out my pumpkin.
Okay.
First, because it's gonna be bigger and kind of take up like the middle of my composition.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna kind of put my 2 pieces together. I might even outline my pumpkin in black so I can see it a little bit better because my paper's a little thick. Then I'm gonna line my 2 circles up and kind of just quickly sketch my face so I know where it is.
Okay.
Like on the pumpkin. Which is why, like, if you're using copy paper and you put a piece of cardboard in between to make it a little stronger when you start to twist it.
Yeah.
With the copy paper, obviously, you can see through it. A little easier to really line things up if you want to get.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Especially, I could see if you're doing it in a classroom, it being kind of nice to have that ability, or like a light box or something to put through.
Yes.
Thank you for the ideas. Susie's saying like wings flapping, eyes winking. So like something that's kind of a quick action could be interesting. Laura Lee says like bat and a full moon. So like 2 sort of similar object, or like maybe themes. I kind of want to try the eye. I like that idea. I'm gonna try like
really cool.
I'm gonna try a little eye situation. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be, you know, it can be kind of a little bit more off center, because if it's like slightly different, it's just going to jump a little bit. But
yeah, my butterfly in my mason jar, if you look super carefully, my butterfly is a little on the outside of my mason jar.
I mean, I kind of like, I sort of like it. It's got this sort of movement element to it. Okay, so we're just sketching. You're doing pencil first for yours.
Yeah.
And Katie, what kind of art do you typically find yourself doing when you're creating in your own totally existent free time?
So I like to make more like dimensional things. I'm involved in a tablescape project for a children's hospital locally. And I like to pretend I'm a Disney Imagineer and, make all the things for the table. So you feel like you're sitting because it's all about a children's storybook.
Awesome.
So I like to have people who come and sit at my table feel like they are, in the story. So all sorts of things. I've made the crayons from the day the crayons quit, but I made them giant with all of their faces. And those were like paper mache. They're huge. They're actually on display at our local library now.
Amazing.
So yeah, I like to make, I'm not necessarily a two-dimensional artist. I like to get messy, make things big. Got giant art supplies in my classroom, things like that.
So it's kind of like makes sense that you would be creating something that moves, even though it's small, just because it's like two-dimensional flat things don't maybe speak to you as much as an artist.
Yes. I mean, I love that kind of art.
Oh,
and
sure.
I do make some of it, but yeah.
Okay, this is going to be real interesting. Everybody buckle up because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I have an idea, but I'm just going to kind of go for it. Also, just a friendly reminder, y'all, this is like the shortest time that still feels feasible to create because we're really only creating for, 20 minutes, like your class, right? Because it takes a little instruction time and then you're just creating so quickly. So that's why I'm like sporadically coloring my things. How's yours going, Katie?
I'm good. I've got a pumpkin created. I'm trying to get it into the camera here. I've got a little pumpkin and I just kind of did a little black outline because I'm going to hold mine up and I'll add a little color later, but I can see my black line through.
Okay.
So now with my pencil, I can kind of draw the little face and see where I would want it to be.
Okay. So you're kind of like using the dark outline as more of a map a little bit for what's coming up next. Okay. And this is where a light box, if you were doing it in your classroom, might be helpful, or like even just a window. I mean, I've closed my windows so that we can see right now, but I could see that being nice to have just a little bit more space. Okay. I always love, drawing something you've never drawn before and just hoping it doesn't look random. But you know what? That's what we're demoing right now, right?
Exactly. The other tricky thing for students is when we put these together is you actually end up gluing them upside down to each other.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you want the, okay, yeah. But
so
you still,
flip.
It's not like you need to draw them backwards or anything.
Right.
That's good. Okay. All right, this is intriguing, Sarah. Good job. I was trying to do like rainbow eyeshadow situation and it got like real weird. But you know what? We're gonna see what happens. I appreciate everyone's suggestions. Okay, wait. Awesome. Ooh, yes, end of the year activity. It's gonna be a 2-session class. You're right. Yes. Because we wanna, it's hard to just get to sit down and actually feel like you have the time to create something, but again, we're just trying to give you that space to remind yourself that you're an artist. I just gotta move on.
Actually, it might be best if you line it up upside down.
If you what?
Line it up upside down. I feel like that's what I did wrong with my butterfly.
Oh, maybe. So I was like pulling these two apart, trying to make them match, and that's the most ridiculous tracing paper. I'm like, okay, is this? Is that?
Right? I feel like I'm trying to do it so fast. I'm like,
oh, Susie said she's doing an eye example and hers is rainbow too, so this will be interesting. I like it. It's the rainbow eye off. I'm excited about your pumpkin though.
We'll see how it turns out. I've already like redrawn the face 3 times.
I vibe. I get it. Fully understand. Katie, how is your school year going? Because we're a couple weeks in, and since we're just drawing a little bit together, how's it going for you?
So I'm actually only on week 4
Okay.
because we're in the north.
Yep.
So we don't start till
about there
fairly
too.
late. And what's kind of crazy is the fact that we're on week 4, but today was only the second time I've seen my Monday class. And this
Yes,
is
me
our
too.
first full week of school. And it's open house this week. So we just have a lot going on.
So you're surviving, you're doing okay. But yes, it is weird though, because that's the same for us as far as that Monday group goes. It's like you kind of are used to seeing everybody, and then all of a sudden those kiddos come in, and at least if you've been there for a few years, it's not like there's that many new friends, but it's still something you kind of got to get used to.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm actually, tomorrow's my second time seeing my Tuesday kids too, because we had a primary election, and therefore our Tuesday kiddos also missed 2 days.
Oh, sure.
So we started with kids on a Wednesday, then we lost kids for Labor Day and for election. So
Needless to say, you're already feeling behind. No, hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like you realize you go backwards. You're like, wait a minute, I'm back to day 2 of school.
Yeah, completely.
I
have to get into that mode a little bit.
Yes,
absolutely. Okay, well, how are we doing on time here? 8. I just want to make sure we have time to assemble too.
Yeah.
I desperately want to do the background, but I think I might have to just kind of call our stops soon. How far is yours, do you think?
I have just my black sketch, so I think I'm going to just keep it there, because you certainly don't have to color these.
Sure.
They still would work, and that way I can get to making sure that I assemble them properly.
Awesome.
Since I made this one now so long ago, I'm like, oh gosh.
Do we know how to do this? Yes, let's teach everyone.
Yeah, so I think I got mine working pretty good, I think. It's a very weird concept when you start putting it together, because you start to think a little upside down, because you're going to glue the 2 images back to back, but they're going to, my pumpkin's going to be right side up. My jack-o'-lantern face is going to be upside down.
Okay, so glue stick is your suggestion.
Yep. Masking tape or something like that could certainly work.
So basically, instead of trying to connect them so that they're just right flipped this way, you're going to basically take that top one and then just flip it underneath, so that if you were to twist it, they're going to still be I'm kind of testing it now, and I should be good. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm lining it up. I can see through mine over here and my little light. There we go.
Woo! Okay. All right.
I can see that. But I'm lining it up so I can see my 2 images. And then of course with glue stick, I can kind of finagle it.
Oh yeah. Okay. This is interesting. I feel like I got too thick of paper. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can you see through it?
So in the end, as long as you've lined it up fairly well, the thickness of the paper is no problem.
Okay.
It's just being able to line it up.
Oh, sure.
So actually having a thicker paper makes it so when you start to turn it, you're not going to pull that, your rubber bands right through the holes.
Okay.
That's where with the copy paper you could run into, kids get overzealous, start spinning.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's into little shreds and pieces, and then we've got tears.
Exactly.
During a project that's supposed to be fun times. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, with mine just being a black and white sketch, this could be something done really quickly, or you could be far more involved and use other mediums and things like that.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. So I'm going to now hole punch on each side.
Okay.
And we don't have to measure anything. You can just kind of go on either side.
Got it.
And I'm going to stick my rubber band right through the hole and just kind of do that little, loop knot thing. I don't know, is there an official word for that type of knot? Probably.
Gosh, you're asking the wrong person. I would probably, you know what? It is. It's called a lark's head knot.
Oh my goodness. There you go.
Well, I'm thinking back to macrame, as long as that's the correct thing. So like looping
right. I
it
was
in
thinking
and
like we
then-
need a fiber artist to tell us.
Yeah. Lark's head knot. I stole 2 hair ties, so that's
Those
my
are
problem
perfect.
solved. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, you could absolutely use yarn. You know, if you happen to be yarn heavy in your art room and you wanted to do it with students, yarn.
Yes. Love it. Oh yeah, slip knot. Yeah, that would work too.
Yep.
Okay.
And so what I like I said about the rubber bands is it gives you that automatic like give back where it wants to spin itself back versus having to really do it with your fingers.
Right.
But you just start to roll it in your fingers and you can start to see that image.
Okay. I'm
Flipping
here
back
for
and
this.
forth. So
Dude.
my pumpkin is working pretty good. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay, yes. Wait, here, let's do this. Because I want to see yours a little bit more too.
All right, I'm gonna move my camera over to back over here.
Okay, let's see it.
Oh, I gotta flip mine the other way now. So I've got my pumpkin, got my face.
Oh, cute! That's fun. And it's also kind of cool that it like flickers. It's like this weird sort of like light. Like it messes with you, but I like it.
Yeah, so really it's about like just, you know, lining up the images and having them go upside down.
Yeah.
To each other. And again, if you wanted to do like a larger animation unit with students, this could lead into like a rotoscope or, you know, things like that. I love things that I think students love hands-on things that do something.
Yes.
I also think that students love learning about art careers that are outside of, I think, what we normally teach them. And animation just is one that they gravitate towards because they watch it.
Absolutely.
So they get it.
My hair ties are like partly cooperating. Wait, is that the right way? Or is that upside down?
Yeah, that's upside down. There
okay,
you go.
I was like, something looks weird.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You're blinking. There you
Ooh.
go.
It's like, like having a bit of an eye moment, but that's super fun. I love it.
Yes, there are a lot of fun, and there's so many possibilities. So it really lends itself to do student choice. You know, coming up with something that they're interested in.
Yes, completely.
So,
do you feel like if you were to do, because I know you said you haven't officially done it with students yet, but if you were to, what grade level do you feel like you would maybe start with initially?
I almost always, so I'm actually, one thing I didn't say is I teach at a school that is 2 through 5.
Okay.
And I actually only teach 2 through 4. I don't see my teachers. There's because we have 2 art teachers. We're really lucky.
Nice.
So I would almost always test something with 4th grade. I love 4th graders.
yeah, they're great.
I absolutely love testing things out. So when it comes to things lining up or being precise, I definitely always lean towards those older grades first.
Right.
And then if I found that it was like really easy for them, or if I know my 3rd graders are really advanced, then, you know, I would certainly move it down.
Totally. And there's easy ways you can cut corners too, as far as like maybe using those die cut machines and cut circles, or if there's like something you've already used that could be circles. Like,
yeah,
I know I have a bunch of paper circles at school that I've saved for dot day, but like, let's do something different with them too.
Right. And you could also even just print out images already, get the idea, make one quick, and then they make their own with their own art, you know, so that they understand how it works.
That's perfect. It's so fun. I was like wanting to twist it around and do other weird things because I have my rubber bands, but I just love it. It's great. I know a couple other teachers have have said you could totally do it with younger ones too. I think I wouldn't be afraid to try it with like that 1st, 2nd grade, and just knowing that the drawing is going to be kind of like, might be a little bit cattywampus, and that's okay. It's just going to be,
even if you did 2 things that were next to each other versus on top of each other, when you flip it, you're still going to see both images in your eye. So you certainly don't have to make it line up perfectly or anything like that for a younger.
I love it. It's so simple. I like can't stop. I'm like, yes, I'm listening. Right. I absolutely am listening. Katie, can you leave us with some words of hopeful encouragement during this school year as we continue through yet another year of creating art?
Well, I am glad that I feel like we're on the other side of a lot of the COVID crazy and things like that. I started, my first year was COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. So I really encourage art teachers who we sometimes feel like we live on an island, to get out of the classroom and make connections with other teachers. It's only going to make your practice in your classroom stronger because you can work with them on, particular students or things like that. If you have a class that's super hard behavior wise, like ask the teacher if you can go observe their class. Maybe something's working that you didn't think of. And I feel like sometimes we're scared to come out of our little cave and ask for help or, connect with people who aren't in our little niche.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you're right. It's about building that community at the art educator level, because it's nice to have like people like you that I can say, oh yeah, Katie, like can't wait to see you at nationals, or like excited to, bounce this idea off of you, and have that team of art educators that you can rely on. But also, you're right, thinking about your own coworkers and your staff that know your kids, know your students, but don't see it through that art lens, it adds an extra level of understanding for sure.
Absolutely. And then you just don't feel as alone in your building because you've made connections with other coworkers.
Completely. That's been I think one of the harder parts too, is feeling like you're just kind of in your own little turtle shell. And
my first year in my school, I didn't see anyone without a mask on. Ever. Like I didn't even know what they looked like.
It's wild. It's wild stuff. The things that we've done and that we continue to do, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining us. Friendly reminder for y'all, if you have created something today and you want to show us, feel free to post it in your Instagram story. You can tag Katie. What is your handle again, Katie?
I'm One Little Spark Art. You can just look for my friend Figment.
Perfect. One Little Spark Art. So you can tag Katie so she can see what you created as well. Tag the Art of Ed, and then if you'd like to use our hashtag AOEU Live, that's going to help us to be able to see who added some things about our art making today. So join us next week, Monday, for some more art making. And Katie, thank you so much. Y'all have an amazing week, okay?
Thanks for having me. Have a great one.
That's right. Toodles.